Greetings and salutations in our distance. This is Wolfphototech, and here we are with another video. This time I'm going to cover, this looks to be a Pathfinder 2nd edition book. However, you notice that there's no 2nd edition box up here, but there's this red 5e box. Well, this is actually the Pathfinder Kingmaker Beastiary, but for 5th edition, Dungeons and Dragons. And you note that I have two pieces of paper up here, because it happens to contain two critters I really wanted to use. It was on a party I had at a campaign. But, yeah, let's just go on from there. So anyways, here we go. It is a fairly thick book. It's around $50. $50. $50. 50. Either way it works. So here we go. It's a solid color book. It has a green in splash pages. Nice big title page here. The table of contents is well organized. It does the job that it needs to do. It is important to note that the bestiary section is actually broken up into several groups. There's Chapter 1, which is the normal bestiary. Chapter 2, the NPC Codex. Chapter 3, which is actually hazards and traps. And Chapter 4, which is actually companions. So, 4 things. And I'm going to flip into this here. By the way, we also have the Goblin Dog on 49. Everyone needs a Goblin Dog. So we have a simple introduction right here showing off some monsters, key terms, explaining basic logic of how to run and read the monsters for 5th edition. And we go to Chapter 1. Some important bits of information right here about aeons, Bathos aeons, and so forth, as well as a little bestiary introduction. Please note that unlike, say, like the regular Pathfinder 2nd edition books, like these, which, by the way, this is the collector's edition. The reason why I got the collector's edition of Beastiary 2 is because when I went to buy it, it was cheaper than the non-collector's edition. But that's okay. So, one point knocked off for the fact that there is not images for every single creature in this book. So you're not getting an image for a Bathos Aeon. You're not going to get an image for a giant animated statue. You only get like an image for a monster once every 4 or 5 monsters. And the Eneku right there. There's the Eneku. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, so forth. And then you have an Azer worm here and all this basic stuff right here. Now, it's important to note that this bestiary book pretty much contains pretty much all the monsters. This first section, the regular bestiary, Chapter 1, contains all the monsters that you can pretty much most of the monsters you can find in Bestiary 1 and 2 for Pathfinder 2nd edition. So, there's not a whole lot of that. But these are in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition stat blocks. So, there you go. We keep continuing on from there. We got Banshee, Elder, and so forth. And we got a variety of other little critters here and there. You get some new Bogard warriors. And so and so forth. You got a giant centipede, cultists, and a few other fun enemies for your D&D party to deal with. So, other than the fact that it's rather sad that there's not artwork for every single monster, I really would have liked artwork, even if it was this tall. Even if it was this tall on the page, it would have been better to have an image this tall than have only one image for every 4 to 5 monsters. Now I'm going to jump to the next thing. This is frog moths. You do have some overlap with the regular Dungeon Monster Manual for Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, as well as Mordenkainen and Tome of Foes for various creatures and so forth. So what you don't entirely get entirely new monsters. Like you have a variant of ghosts here and so forth, and a marsh giant. You got some new types of goblins to throw in, as well as a goblin dog. Sadly to say that there is no... There's the stat block for goblin dog. Everyone needs a goblin dog. But you also have a stat block here for a goblin bat dog. So that's... If you got a goblin dog, you got a whole pack of goblin dogs, you throw in a goblin bat dog. That's even cooler. Everyone needs your goblin dog, and then you get a bat dog. A hodag, which is not entirely accurate to the standard depiction of a hodag. I should know, I'm from Wisconsin. You'll run into them every so often in the woods. You got a Jabberwack, and so forth. Let's go ahead and skip right through to... You got a few more drakes and a few more minor dragons in here and there. And insects. You do have a nice variety, and the stat blocks are fairly easy to read, but I still wanted like a piece of artwork for each creature. War Sworn. And then we need to get to the front here. Here's Chapter 2, NPC Codex. Now this is where most of the value in this book comes in, because in the previous chapter, Chapter 1, you had a bunch of creatures that were from Pathfinder 2nd Edition Beastiary, and a few new ones flicked in, but just in Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition stats as opposed to Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Here you have a whole bunch of unique creatures and opponents, special variants of which that you only can find in this book. We happen to have the awesome The Beast, which is a gigantic-sized owlbear. Its CR is challenge level 9, and I really wanted to use this on a party, but the opportunity never really came up. There's also a flying owlbear earlier in the book, which is actually new to this book. But you have, yet again, a similar situation where you have basically just one piece of artwork for every 3 to 4 monsters. And I really, really would have liked it if there was at least a small piece of artwork for every monster. So you basically see the general overflow of the book. Yet again, it's just like one monster per page with artwork, like 4 stat blocks, and so forth. And then I'm going to jump to Chapter 3. Because this is not a page through, this is overview. And then we jump into Chapter 3, which has a bunch of hazards and traps. Now, what's nice here is that you actually do have a nice variety of complex and simple traps, as well as complex and simple hazards, with some nice rules that explain how to operate these traps and hazards. And you have a very good variety overall. Magical thunderstorms and so forth, rickety bridges, rigged climbing loops, scalding tar lake, and so forth. You got a nice variety of traps here. Please note that there are no artwork for any of the traps or anything in the book, and even very little artwork for the hazards. Now we have NPC Gallery, Chapter 4, and you have Amiri here, and they do a standard increment of levels for the companions. You got level 1 for some characters. Level 1, you got level 6, and so forth. Some of the characters only have 1 or 2 levels in them for like level 1 and 6. Some have like 1 and 6 and 12, and so forth. But it spreads out on the pages. You have a decent variety here of NPCs, and they're all generally interesting. You have a handy dandy index in the back for all the critters in the book. Their challenge rating as what organized by challenge rating. So level 1/8 all the way down to CR 24. Avatar of the Lantern King. You have the OGL back here, as well as basic advertisements for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And stuff from Legendary Games. Now, if this exact book was the Pathfinder Stat Blocks book, Beastiary, Kingmaker Beastiary with the same monsters, but for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, I would have said it would have been a 3.25 star estimated score, because a lot of monsters would have been duplications from the regular Beastiary 1 and 2 for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. However, since this is the 5th edition one, it happens to be 4-star. Just because a lot of the creatures, even if they are the same creatures as the same concept as the Pathfinder 2nd Edition creatures, being that they are 5th edition stat blocks, makes them more valuable, because there isn't exactly the exact same thing in 5th edition as they are in these books. There's quite a few creatures that if they were, this book was literally Pathfinder 2nd Edition stat blocks, it wouldn't have been as good. Just because it would have been just reprinting. Where 5th edition, boom, you got new content. I would say that simply due to the fact that this book MSRP's for $50, it's for the 5th edition crowd, it should be right around that 4-star territory. You have traps thrown in here, you have hazards, you have a variety of NPCs, you have a nice mix of new monsters and new variants like a flying owlbear, which I really wanted to use. Yeah. So I would say go for it. If you're a 5th edition player and you come across this book for $50 or less, this is definitely a decent, pretty good buy right here. So I hope you enjoy this video. There is a small set of announcements I have to make. First and foremost, I'm going to set this book down. Second of all, this is the core set for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 3rd Edition. This is completely in its wrapper. It's never been opened. It's just the sleeve comes off. The plastic wrap is still entirely on it. If I make it to 500 subscribers, I will do a unboxing of this box, and I'll go through everything in it. Here. I will go through everything in this box fresh. Okay? A fresh unboxing for everyone at 500 subscribers. After I'm done with covering the Pathfinder card sets, I will move on into the Starfinder card sets. As well as the Shadowrun 6th edition card sets. By the way, that's the easiest way to store them unless you want to get deck boxes, is to leave them in the cases. This one actually is already opened up. And I also have Call of Cthulhu card sets to go through as well. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful week, and a magnificent month. And see you next time. Ciao.